All right, what's going on, everyone? We got another Dandadan stream, and this one is huge. We got a new chapter of Dandadan, and we got a new trailer today. The trailer looks amazing. There's been a bunch of new trailers for Dandadan Season 2, or Part 2, or Core 2, or Dandadan Squared, whatever we're calling it, and it looks gorgeous. This one looks gorgeous, plus we actually got a nice look into what we're going to see in Dandadan Season 2. The first few episodes, as well as what we can expect in the following episodes, the later half of Season 2. So I want to read the new chapter today. I have a feeling there won't be too much to talk about, but we'll see. And then I want to take a look at the trailer. We got Grace in the chat. Haven't seen the trailer yet. Grace, I know you're catching up. So when we get to today's chapter and the trailer, you might want to step out because if you're not caught up, there's going to be a bunch of spoilers. New trailer looks clean. It looks really clean. I wouldn't say it's a drastic improvement or anything like that, but it looks at least as good as Season 1. We got Eden's in the chat. What's going on, Eden's? Also, Grace said, nice mug. This is my Blizzard World mug. I just got it at a bookstore, but I'm a big World of Warcraft fan. I want to say I'm a big Blizzard fan, but I was a big Blizzard fan. I grew up on their games when I was younger. I still love their games, but they don't really make games anymore. They just kind of develop the stuff they already have, and they barely even kind of do that. They really just do World of Warcraft, which I love. World of Warcraft is my favorite game, but they don't know what the hell they're doing with Overwatch. They forgot about StarCraft. Diablo is a mixed bag. And yeah. But anyway, thank you for my for my long-winded rant. For any fellow World of Warcraft fans, let me know in the chat, Horde or Alliance? I'm going to tell you right now. I love a good orc warrior, a good orc character, but I'm Alliance all the way. Max level Draenei Ret Paladin. Always. Gray said, I finished Season 1. I'm starting back in the manga. Right, so I'm giving you a heads up. I don't know where you are in the manga. So if you're not caught up on volume, let's just say volume 15, then you're probably going to get spoiled. Excuse me. Anyway, so let's just get right into the chapter. So again, if you are not caught up on the Dandadan manga, please don't watch this. So they're on the plane. Recap from last week. Gigi was using his powers even though he couldn't see. The Subterraneans can still very much see Momo, unlike everyone else. They are fighting, and then all of a sudden they run into what seems like a sharknado, but something that stands out is there are random body parts in the sharknado, specifically face parts, and it kind of seems like the work, or it seems like an illusion, no, a reference, if you will, to the mystery game spirit, the puzzle spirit, whoever we just beat in the last arc. Can I do like a visual signal when you're done with the chapter? I'm gonna mute the stream. Okay, yes. This will be my signal. 2 thumbs up will be the signal when we're done talking about the new chapter and when we talk about the trailer. Anyway, so yeah, curious to see if we find out what's actually going on with the typhoon, the Sharknado, which I'm sure they're trying so very hard. Tatsu is trying so very hard not to call it a Sharknado when it is clearly a Sharknado. They call it a typhoon. They don't even call it a tornado. Clearly, Sharknado. So everyone stops what they're doing. They're like, wow, that's really weird, flying sharks. Meanwhile, there's subterranean monsters in really weird costumes. There's a sexy grandma, you know, doing kung fu. There's all kinds of ghosts, but the shark tornado, that's what's got everyone messed up. So everyone is like stopping what they're doing. Vamola is like, ooh, sharks, I want to see, which is kind of funny on a couple of levels, because, you know, people are always sticking their head out the window of the plane to be like, ooh, I want to see, right? I guess on 3 levels, because there's that. There's the fact that Vamola should be very used to like air travel by now, but like sharks are the thing that's got her interested. And then also the fact that like, is she gonna think that sharks are just normally in the sky now? Like, is that how she's gonna understand sharks? Like, if she goes to the aquarium, is she gonna be like, oh wow, they swim too? So funny stuff. Poor Ouji is pissed because he's literally blind. So he literally cannot see the sharks even if he wants to. Everyone's, do you know how pissed I would be if I was randomly blind and like, I don't know, it was raining cats and dogs and someone was like, oh wow, it's literally raining cats and dogs. I'd be like, okay, dude, get out of here. Momo, of course, is the only person to ask the logical question, which is, why are there sharks in the sky? Which is a perfectly reasonable question, but at the same time, if I'm on Team Momo, I have to say to myself at a certain point, like, yeah, business as usual, right? I mean, the aliens, earth monsters, ghosts, ghost alien hybrids. It's like at a certain point, you have to be somewhat desensitized. We got Gamer Chan Leanne in the chat. What's going on, Leanne? Pleasure to have you as always. Anyway, so this is bad. A shark gets launched into the side of the plane. Looks like towards the front of the plane. So now they have to grab onto stuff because now the plane's going to go down. The air is going to leave the plane. The plane is probably going to crash. So everyone is hanging on for dear life. Question of, are they going to drop in the middle of the ocean now? We got Justin in the chat. What's going on, Justin? Pleasure to have you, as always. How you doing today? Seiko using her age or years of wisdom, she tells everyone to put air masks on. Clearly she pays attention. And to everyone in chat, do you actually listen to the instructions when you get on a flight? I half listen. I've been on a few flights at this point in the game, so I pretty much know basically what you're supposed to do, but if you tested me on it, I would definitely fail. I'm here just usually listening. I'm gonna guess you mean casually listening. Right on. Glad to hear you're having fun, chilling out. Dandadan is on break next week. I just saw it. Get out of here. Shut the front door. Let's go to Manga Plus. I don't? What do you mean you don't? Oh, you don't listen. Sorry. I forgot what I was saying for a second. Yeah, no. I usually, because they put the movies on the backs of the seats now, I usually just play a movie. Which, by the way, I have to say, the movies you can watch now, not that bad. Dandadan, where are we? All right, we'll take a look at that in a second. Justin, where did you see that Dandadan is on break? Let's go to Twitter. Yeah, it should say, right? It's set on the Manga Plus app. Oh, it says right here. Beautiful. I'm looking on the website. New chapter arrives Monday, June 2nd. So that's... We might have to do that anime list next Monday, if that's the case. Either that or Gachi Akuta. We'll see. We'll figure it out. But, interesting to see that it's only a week. Usually Tatsu will take like a research break and it's like a couple weeks. I wonder why just the one break. June 2nd. Yep. Cool, cool. Yeah, so we were reading Dandadan. Excuse me. Anyway, so clearly Seiko listens to the instructions. Everyone puts their air masks on. Although not everybody yet. Everyone's holding on for dear life. Poor Momo. She's like, I'm gonna die. GG goes to help Momo, of course. What did GG move? Momo and Seiko are the only like MVPs here. The only ones using their heads. Seiko's telling everyone to put their masks on. Momo has the brilliant idea to have Vamola make herself big and plug the hole. Which, like, I feel like makes perfect sense. It's interesting because usually Ira is like the team leader and she's the one making bad bitch moves. But as soon as she's not in the picture, Momo sort of seems like she's filling that role. It's interesting. So everyone falls down. Momo says, I almost bought the farm. Is that an expression you've heard before? Bought the farm. Expression bought the farm. Google's listening, by the way. They knew that too fast. The expression bought the farm is an idiom meaning to die. Possibly related to the idea of death benefits in the military being enough to pay off a farm's mortgage. or a dream of a peaceful retirement on a farm. Huh. All right. I guess that makes sense. Duly noted. Excuse me. So they're freaking out now because even though they plugged the hole, sharks are still like launching themselves into the plane, which is still bonkers to look at. They're super frozen. So that's what I was curious about, is like, are they live sharks? Are they dead? Are they like fake sharks? I'm surprised you haven't heard that phrase before. I've never heard that in my life. Excuse me 1 second. I have to take a phone call. I will make sure it's brief. Excuse me real quick. All right, sorry about that, everyone. Let's go back. Here we go. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Thank you for being patient with me. Also, Grace, we are still reviewing the Dandadan chapter, so don't get confused. I'm still reviewing Dandadan. Anyway, yeah, so the sharks are frozen, which is something interesting to note. They're just barely plugging up the holes. So they have to like stop the fight now because they're like, okay, we want to fight, but we also don't want to die. The Subterraneans are like, what do we do? At this rate, we're gonna crash. Damn, bro. All right, if I can just go on a rant for a second. If I could just get a whole manga or some, I know Tatsu doesn't really do color pages or cover pages. But goddamn, bro, I need more art of Seiko. Like, bro, bangs down Seiko. Stop it. Come on. Got me down bad. Lord. Lordy. Alright, that's my rant. Anyway. So they're all like teamed up now. They're like, okay, we can put the fight on pause. Let's try and not die for a second before we go back to killing each other. Vomola says, I'm okay, but sharks are biting my back. Which, it's a super alien mech, so they probably can't break it. Hopefully. At this rate, we're gonna freeze like those sharks. Interesting. So, okay, so now Seiko can see Momo. She's like right in her face. Interesting. You had no reaction to me at all before. The medication must have dulled my senses. So that explains, so she took medication before she got on the plane. That makes sense. So, I don't know. This whole, like, I can't see Momo, but, like, everyone else can thing seems slightly... Excuse me. Here we go. It seems slightly inconsistent, but I'll buy it for now. I can only barely sense your presence. This typhoon, nothing like this has ever happened before. I mean, I feel like that's the case for everything in Dandadan. It's not even summer. Typhoons never happen in this time of year. I think it's like springtime in Dandadan right now. I don't know. I can't remember. It's definitely not winter. Do you think the god of Shimane is refusing us? Interesting. Could the evil eye be the cause? Seiko says no, the god of Azuma would accept anybody at all. That god would never refuse people like this. Okay. There's a nose floating out there. There's no way that's normal. Isn't the typhoon a human? There's a nose and a mouth. So I'm glad I'm not the only one who noticed that. So we get an Okaroon Momo moment. Okaroon manifesting himself. The typhoon human was a cryptid named by the cryptologist professor Takashi Nakazawa. It's a living being. After collating the testimonies of eyewitnesses of flying eyeballs and noses, I've determined it to be a creature that dismembers itself and flies throughout the air. The typhoon itself is a living cryptid. So Momo calls back to when she and Okaroon were talking about this, which is already well established at this point. But it is nice to get a reminder that Momo actively listens to and remembers what she talks about with Okaroon. So we're on a bit of a cryptid kick right now. Also, an interesting note about the subspace or the nothing space, I forget what they call it. While this is all happening, the pilots are turning the plane around. The plane circling around, they must be planning to make an emergency landing at a nearby airport, where an empty space is the real world getting hit by the typhoon too. We'll be able to go back and wait out the typhoon. So it seems like when you're in empty space, you're not in a completely different universe. You're in some kind of pocket dimension, like still in the same dimension basically, but you're in like a subspace, if that makes sense. I'm not a physicist. I'm not a scientist at NASA as much as I love Dr. Stone, so I don't have the most sophisticated explanation for that, but that is my layman terms attempt at explaining empty space. But I'm glad that that kind of explained it a bit more. Seiko says we can't go back. If we lose this chance, we won't get another till next year. Your presence is already hazy to me. In a year, I may have forgotten you. We have to go there today, no matter what. Seiko says there's something we can do if it's going to get in our way. And we're going to have to kick the shit out of that typhoon. If only they could have done that in Sharknado. If only they could have just beat the shit out of the Sharknado. Wouldn't that be nice? Typhoons are governed by principles, so science. They explain hot air, cold air, all that good science stuff. Seiko and Dr. Stone, question mark. Eliminating either one, so either the hot air or the cold air, will extinguish the typhoon. And that thing, and the thing that will serve as the key to doing that will be, and she looks at the shark. So let's look at our explanation again to get an idea of what we can expect in the next chapter. Typhoons are caused by warm ocean water and the water vapor it generates. So ocean water and water vapor. The ocean water is the engine and the water vapor is the gasoline. So they either have to stop the water vapor or they have to stop the ocean water. So I have a feeling. I mean, I don't know what they could possibly do. Momo can use her powers. That's an interesting question, right? It's like, what can they really do? I mean, Seiko has spirit powers, but they're like tied to her god at the shrine. Momo has her generic spirit powers. Gigi has spirit powers. Technically, you could use Vamola here. Excuse me. If Vamola goes like full kaiju mode, she could like disrupt the typhoon. That's an idea. I don't really think Ouji is really useful in this situation. We don't really know too much about the Subterraneans. We don't know enough about them. We know they can do like their weird Jennifer Lopez kung fu, but that's kind of it. So I feel like they're going to have to rely on Vamola in this situation, some combination of Vamola and Momo's powers. But this has been an incredible run for sure. I did not expect that this arc, I guess, would turn into Team Momo and Team Jennifer Lopez teaming up to beat the shit out of a Sharknado. Wild stuff. 8 out of 10 chapter. Possibly 9 out of 10 chapter. Loved it. Great character moments. We got an explanation of the empty space. And yeah, now they're going to beat the shit out of a Sharknado. So, amazing chapter. Dandadan wins as usual. And speaking of winning, I want to talk about the Dandadan trailer. Excuse me. Also, Grace, we're good. We're talking about the Dandadan trailer. So I don't know if you're not caught up to the Dandadan anime. This will have spoilers, obviously, and I'm probably gonna mention some stuff. I'll try to avoid spoilers, but I'm gonna talk about some stuff for what we can expect. They've given us a bunch of trailers and they've been like, you know, whatever, just kind of like previews, but this trailer seems like the most telling. So let me see if I can. Yeah, that works. So I'm not going to show the trailer, just because I don't want to get copyrighted. I feel like that's a situation where I might get copyrighted. And I'm not going to play the audio, obviously, but they just dropped a trailer today. I want to go through it and kind of share my thoughts on the trailer. It's 1 minute and 51 seconds. Some things to note is we got some more looks at Evil Eye. They kind of gave away the whole plot, basically, which is not unusual for anime studios. They did show a bunch of really good character shots. I'm trying to think what else. And they gave us a really good idea of what we can expect for after the Evil Eye arc. By the way, how do you read at such fast speeds? This is the longest you've taken to read a chapter. But other than that, how do you read so fast? It kind of depends. So like, I try not to speed read chapters, but I also don't like belabor it. Like, I don't force it. If a chapter is like pretty straightforward, I don't skim it and I don't speed read it, but like, I don't try to like overanalyze it. I read it for what it is. I strongly recommend against I think you need to find a balance between like rushing through a manga just to get it done and speed reading, because speed reading is a good skill to have, especially in this day and age when like there's so much stuff to read. But you kind of have to know like in your head like what's important and like what can you probably like half pay attention to, especially when you're reading dialogue. Excuse me. But anyway, so let's talk about the trailer. So it opens up with Evil Eye, really good shot of Evil Eye. They cut to a shot of a town in a orange light with some kind of, it looks like a planet on the horizon and maybe the moon. I'm not sure. I don't remember that shot. Then we get a shot of Evil Eye's backstory. So I have a feeling that they're gonna give Evil Eye the same treatment that they gave Acrobatic Silky. They fully represented and adapted what was in the manga for Acrobatic Silky, excuse me, but they went the extra mile. Like the animation in that flashback and like just the overall direction of that backstory was some of the best stuff from season 1. So I have a suspicion that they're gonna give Evil Eye's backstory the same treatment. So that's probably gonna be a really big episode for sure. So then it's basically just a bunch of teasing the Evil Eye arc, nothing really too serious. A bunch of really, my biggest takeaway is that the trailer looks gorgeous. Again, the animation doesn't necessarily look better than season 1, but it definitely looks at least as good as season 1. Like, it's a really good looking trailer. Basically, they're emphasizing the idea that Evil Eye is like, I mean, they literally say it, the strongest enemy. Like, this is the strongest enemy we've fought so far in the story. Excuse me 1 second. I have to take another phone call. I apologize for all the interruptions in this stream. I'll be back in just 1 minute. All right, sorry again about that, everyone. We had to have some plumbing done in the house today, so I've just been communicating back and forth about that. That's kind of been my day, more or less. Also, we got Eddie Rayman in the chat. What's going on, Eddie? Pleasure to have you, as always. I did a good job with the comic/manga review. I'm glad you enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun making that video. That was probably one of my favorite videos I've done this year. Excuse me. Excuse me. So anyway, we have a bunch of shots. Basically, they're trying to hype up Evil Eye, which, I mean, literally the whole point of the arc, so it only makes sense. They're really focusing on the rivalry between Evil Eye and Okaroon, and then they're really trying to raise the stakes by showing that Evil Eye like actually attacks Momo, like puts her hands on and hurts Momo, and also potentially setting up that rift between Gigi and Momo that we get following this arc. They also like completely give away the big surprise twist appearance at the end of this arc, or towards the end of this arc, which again is nothing unusual if you're an anime fan. Anime studios are spoiling anime constantly, so it is what it is. It really, I guess if you don't read the manga and you don't have the full context, it doesn't seem like such a big deal. I don't know. So yeah, they basically really hyping up the fight between Okaroon and Evil Eye. They also show, following the Evil Eye arc, they show the scene with like Beethoven and all the musicians. So we know the story is going to advance at least that far. As a matter of fact, the fact that they're even showing this in the trailer leads me to believe that like the first 6-ish episodes of this season are gonna adapt the rest of Evil Eye, as well as the like mini arc following that. So my suspicion is that by episode 6 we will start the kaiju arc. So that being said, we'll probably wrap up season 2 with the end of the kaiju arc, because the kaiju arc is not that long. So season 2 will probably end with the introduction of Vamola and like teasing the space globalists arc. That seems like the most logical takeaway from this trailer. But yeah, gorgeous visuals. I mean, they literally show a scene of Evil Eye punching the snot out of Okarun, and then they show a scene where Momo hugs Okarun, which of course emphasizes that as much as this is like a really big action part of the story, it's also very much about Okarun and Momo and fleshing out their dynamic. They also show the Exorcist band, and I'm super excited for that one, for that part, because I have a feeling Science Saru is going to make that incredibly fun to watch. That was one of my favorite parts to read in the manga, so I can't wait to see it animated with like music and singing. So we keep going. That's obviously right after. So they tell us, they actually play a bit of it, and they tell us what the opening theme is going to be, and they tell us the band or the artist, Ina the End. So sorry, Creepy Nuts, but you are not doing the opening. For anyone that was hoping for Creepy Nuts, again, not them. Ina the End. I'm curious to see if they've done, I'm sure they have done openings for other anime. Let's see if I go to YouTube. Chat, can you tell me, has Ina the End done any openings for other anime? Apothecary Diaries, that came up right away. Dandadan. Trying to find what else. Kind of just looking like Apothecary Diaries and Dandadan. They did Devilman Crybaby. Okay, all right, that's dope. I think they did Apothecary. Yeah, that was like the first one that came up. So they're pretty popular. They're not like huge, but yeah. So that'll be nice. We hear the opening, but obviously, unless you speak Japanese, you got no idea what's going on. However, I did come across something on Twitter. So, the Daily Dandadan account, which, do I even follow that account? We'll go right ahead and follow them. Thank you. They don't give a source, I don't believe, but okay, yeah, just wanted to make sure. They don't give a source, but the Daily Dandadan Twitter account quotes the artist Ina the End as saying, "I've had the honor of writing the opening theme for the second season of Dandadan. It's called..." Okay, so we get two different names. This one is called The Revolutionary Journey, but on YouTube it's called On the Way. So I'm going to go by On the Way. I really love both the original and first season of Dandadan. In this opening, I packed the music with the sentimental feelings of love as people fight and run to protect what's important. So obviously, we can probably expect the season 2 opening to focus on the relationship between Okarun and Momo. Going to be a bit more romance focused than the prior one. I mean, it also says it also represents the feelings of Momo and Okarun and is a song that can give a push to anyone who is unsure. So yeah. I don't know if the season 2 opening will be as catchy as the season 1 opening, but it seems like they're putting just as much heart into this one. So definitely excited to see that when it comes out. What's the news for Dandadan? We got a new trailer today, and we got the name and artist for the new opening. So obviously I don't want to show it for copyright reasons. If I was a little more confident about trailers, I would show it, but trailers are iffy territory. But yeah, new Dandadan trailer. We got like another minute to go through. So something else to note is that they show Momo in her part-time outfit, which I don't think happens until after the Kaiju arc. I'm trying to think. Can somebody tell me when Momo gets the part-time job and like when Okarun and Momo's friends go to bug her at work? Because if I remember correctly, that happens after the Kaiju arc. If that's the case, then that pretty much confirms that the rest of the Evil Eye arc is only going to be like 4 or 5 episodes. Then the Kaiju arc will be like another 5 episodes. So that's like 10 episodes. So then the last, I'm going to say the last 2 episodes are going to be post Kaiju arc, and they're going to be dedicated to setting up the Space Globalists arc. So we, just based on this trailer, we pretty much know what's going to get adapted in season 2 already. Like, we have a fairly good idea of the pacing and where things are going to end, which is really nice. Chapter 83. Thank you, Edens. So if I pull up, let's see, Dandadan, chapter 83. Yep. So chapter 83. So that's volume 10. So if we go to the beginning of volume 10, that is well after the Kaiju arc. So if we go to chapter 80, yep, okay. Chapter 83? No, that would be sooner. Okay, let's try chapter 71, maybe. That's still Kaiju arc. 72. Yep. Okay. Chapter 73. That's them having dinner. Let's try 74. Okay. Let's skip forward a few chapters. 76, maybe? '77. Let's try the next one, 78. Let's try chapter 80. I don't know. I cannot for the life of me remember when this happened. Chapter 54. I'm too locked in. All right, let's try this again. So that would mean, I think it happened right before the Kaiju arc then. That's what it looks like. Chapter 54. Yep. Okay, so that's chapter 54. So what happens after that then? Oh, so that actually happens before the like Beethoven stuff. So that happens before. Okay. So if that's the case, then let me adjust my evaluation of season 2. So season 2, the Evil Eye arc will probably take place over like 5 episodes max. Then the stuff following that will probably... So this is right after that. That takes like 10 chapters. If I had to guess, I would say my gut says that season 2 is going to end like right when the Kaiju arc ends, but it might be like right when it starts, depending on how long they take to adapt the stuff after the Evil Eye arc. But definitely getting Kaiju arc either the very beginning or, you know, very end. Potentially, at the very least, we're not getting any of the Space Globalist arc. It looks like at the very most, they'll just tee up that arc in the last episode. From the Cursed House Evil Eye arc, it's like 35 chapters. So let's see. So right now they're on chapter 41. I want to say no. 36. 35. So 30, they're on volume 5 right now in the anime. So trying to think. Volume 5. So 7, 16. So yeah, 16 chapters. If they do, I'm gonna guess like 5. So Evil Eye will probably be like 5 episodes. So then from there, what's 67? 67. 76 brings us to the end of the kaiju arc. So that's another 20. That's another 26. So that's 3 times 8 is 24. Mental math. Love it. So my guess is the Evil Eye arc is going to be like 5 episodes. And then the second half of season 2 will be the following stuff, and then either most of the kaiju arc, or like it'll probably end like right at the end of the kaiju arc, I suspect. Ouji's buff in real life, not gonna lie. Thought he was gonna be like a scrawny nerd. I wouldn't say I'm buff. I mean, I don't know if you can see it. I mean, I'm just kind of chunky. I like to eat. I'll put it that way. I like myself a nice pizza. I'll put it this way. I made myself a pot of Kraft mac and cheese last night, and I ate the whole pot. I was only gonna have like 1 bowl, but I hadn't eaten all day, so I ate the whole pot. Killed it. Love, bruh. I'm like almost 30. Still love a bowl of Kraft mac and cheese. I don't care. I could be 80. I would kill Kraft mac and cheese. I would muck Kraft mac and cheese. Kaiju is like 11 chapters, so that definitely will be the end of season. Space. Yeah. My like watching anime for years and years and knowing the typical tricks and all the stuff they do in anime episodes and seasons and cliffhangers and all that good stuff. My sneaking suspicion is that they will probably tee up the Space Globalist arc. That's more or less what they did with season 1. They ended on like a killer cliffhanger and they teed up the stuff for season 2. So I suspect there'll be some kind of teaser at the end of season 2 for the Space Globalist arc. So we have a really good idea of what season 2 is going to adapt, more or less. I just want to finish the trailer. Of course, still looks gorgeous. They're really emphasizing the conflict between Okarun and Evil Eye. Really establishing Okarun's motivation to protect Momo. And they end it on a really cute note with the Moe Moe Tri-Beam, which I cannot wait to see animated, because it's like the one time Okarun legitimately interacts with Momo's friends. That looks like a really cool scene. And then I think that's it. Yeah, and then this drop. Season 2 begins July 3rd, worldwide streaming, of course, on Netflix. So yeah. Like many episodes for Space? I'm not sure. I gotta be honest, Eddie, I have no idea what you just asked. If you're talking about Dandadan, the Evil Eye arc will probably be like 5 episodes, and then Kaiju will probably be like another 4 or 5. It depends. It depends on how they set this stuff up. But yeah, that's it for now. Great Dandadan chapter. 8 out of 10, possibly 9 out of 10 chapter. Love the Dandadan trailer. We got a really good idea of what we can watch in season 2. and the animation looks awesome. And I'm excited to see what they do with the opening. Obviously, it seems like the second opening is going to be very focused on the Okarun Momo dynamic. My guess is season 2 will end on 72 or 73. That sounds about right. Right after Vramola appears in one of the invaders. That is my guess as well. But yeah, that's it. So for everyone who keeps up with the streams, there will not be a stream Thursday or this upcoming Sunday. I have family visiting, so I just don't think I'm going to have an opportunity to sit down and stream. Video schedule will stay normal. I don't think I'll have time to sit down and stream, record. Excuse me. Make sure to check out the manga versus comics video that I just uploaded right before the stream. I had a lot of fun making it. I don't really read a ton of comics, but I try to read comics when I can. And I love comic book stores. Make sure to go to your local comic book store. Don't visit the family. Have the family visit the stream. Well, so I'm not going to visit them. They're coming to visit here. So I think I'm going to be spending a lot of time with them. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think I'm going to have time to, like, sit in front of camera. But that's not a bad idea. Bring the family to the stream. So yeah, check out today's video. Look out for a Jujutsu Kaisen video. And then look out for a video this weekend, because there's going to be a big video this weekend, and it's going to mark a special occasion for the channel as well. So a lot going on this week to make up for no streaming. But other than that, thank you everybody. Great stream as always, and I'll see you soon.